Yeah.
So, good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome, as well as thanks a lot to all of you for joining. And of course, congratulations to the entire new executive who is joining. We had never really, at least I had never really thought about how environment unfriendly IVF is till Dr. Pankaj Talwar shook us in his talk 2 years ago. And ever since then, we have, as a team, been working towards creating awareness about uh, how unfriendly IVF environment unfriendly IVF can be and what we can do about it. And so today's webinar is also all about that. And for taking the proceedings forward, the MOC for today, Master of Ceremonies, is Dr. Nitasha Gupta. Dr. Natasha has been the Joint Secretary of Haryana IFS, very energetic, active, and a beaming personality. Always a pleasure to associate with. So, Natasha, please carry forward the proceedings from now.
Right, ma'am. So since the whole I am not being allowed to share the screen, probably I have requested them to just allow me share the screen, ma'am.
In the meantime, you can introduce Dr. Pankaj Talwar in just a few lines. We all know him, and he can get started.
Yeah, yeah, just get started. That's important.
Introduction. Sir is the President, Indian Fertility Society 2024-26, Founder, Secretary, Fertility Preservation Society of India. And Sir is awarded the VSM by the President of India for working in the field of infertility. Director Dr. Pankaj Talwar, IVF and Fertility and Men's Clinic at Gurugram. Academic Director of IC, the Clinical and Embryology Academy of ART IVF Training Academy. He's a Director Clinical ART Program, Sir, Gurugram University, Dean Department of Clinical Embryology and Reproductive Sciences, Sridhar University, Pilani, Founder, Doc Infra Consultancy. Sir, excuse me if I'm missing out any pronunciation problems.
Move it.
Is enrolled 3 countries, 8,000. I'm sure this must have increased by now. These are all we need to update Sir's CV, I guess. 45,000 doctors enrolled globally for digital learning over 34 countries, 10 orations, 4 lifetime achievement awards, edited 11 books. I'm sure this is a plus in this now also. 150 publications, experience of setting up 29 ART centers globally. Best Armed Forces Project and Research Paper Award from Director General Armed Forces 2011 and 2012. Excellence in Fertility TRG Award National 2024 Voice of Health. 250 live workshops in embryology. ET Health Icon of North India 2023. Leading gynecologist of North India 2019. ET Health and pioneer of ovarian tissue freezing in India. This is, I think, just 10%, the tip of the iceberg, which has been there. Otherwise, there will be volumes for me to tell about Sir and even Shweta Mithil, ma'am. So, ma'am, I think let me just try sharing the screen so that we can, yes. All right. So, now the next session, ma'am, we will be talking about the Green ART from concept to conception. So, sir, I want to invite the chairpersons for the session. Dr. Bharti Dore Patil, ma'am, she's the head of the Gynecology Department, Shri Hospital, Scientific Director of Embryonic IVF Pune. And Professor Shweta Mittal Gupta, ma'am, she is a Secretary General Indian Fertility Society, Treasurer IFS, Treasurer AOGD 2020-21, Convener SIG Reproductive Endocrinology IFS 2022 to 24. So I think I'm keeping it short. And sir, the platform is all yours to just take the
Thank
speech
you.
concept. Right, sir?
Thank you so much. And thank you so much. And I think we always require your blessings. When we picked up this program in nearly 1.5 years back now. So I think I must thank at the very onset my dear friend Meenu. Meenu, तुम्हारे बिना नहीं हो पाता. Because I always say that when the train starts running at the full speed, anyone can get in the train. But initially is a lot of coal you have to put in that train. बहुत धुआं निकलता है उसके अंदर से. It's very suffocating. And that time you were with us. Thank you so much for this. And I want to put it on record that. And then of course, without Bindu ma'am and Loveleen, we could have devoted at Panipat or Sonipat only. We wouldn't have reached even Ambala. all three girls have done a beautiful job without missing any words, and gratitude. I think you have done a service to the whole globe and not just to IFS or to yourself. You don't know what you have done actually. बचपन में पता नहीं चलता आपने क्या कर डाला है. But you have created a commotion in the whole world. When I find a lot of societies are trying to follow, they are trying to do publish papers. But we were the one IFS, you people, the initiative. And embryology surrogate has been a total, the guiding force and putting it across. And both Shweta and me are so grateful to all of you. I've been told to speak for around 5 or 10 minutes by Dr. Bindu Chimote. And thank you, Meenu, for giving me the script for the talk today. So we had this, we launched this program. We had a little, I had a oration. I'm very fond of picking up some funny things which are different, which are futuristic. And I picked up a topic of green IVF. There's a time Bharti ma'am ne mere ko bola, Bharti ma'am, do you remember? Bharti ma'am told me the green IVF is minimalistic IVF, where we want to give minimal dosages. So that's what ma'am told me. मैं कहा नहीं मैम, हमारा कुछ fundamental different है. So Bharti ma'am, thank you so much for guiding us throughout in this journey. And Sonia Malik ma'am, of course, is our mentor. She's been very kind to us. So 7th of January, we launched a program in a jiffy. 2-3 people got together and launched it. Shweta and me, we took a call. Shweta said, sir, launch कर देते. Launch किया 7 जनवरी को. उसके बाद में we sat down, the whole team sat down. We are a huge number. There are more than 75 people who are team members who are there. Everyone has played their role beautifully, some more, some less. But I think all the fingers are not equal. But muthi band karke, we punched the world and we have done a great job together. So we made 9 teams. We had 9 teams. Every team had 2 team leaders and we had 4 to 6 members per team. Great job done, and the train took off. The train started moving. Actually, my aim was to probably reaching Chandigarh from Delhi. I never thought more than that. But I think we have reached Kanyakumari to Jammu. Multiple times we have traveled. So we led very beautifully by Dr. Sonia Malik ma'am, Bindu ma'am, Loveleen, Meenu, of course. Meenu was my punching bag. Every time Meenu was the punching bag. Meenu had to trace me. She made 20 calls and I could take 1 call of hers. There was a time. So Meenu, thank you so much for chasing. And Shweta and me are so grateful to all of you. So we did 10 meetings of the core group. 10 meetings we did. And then we started to plan, and you'll be quite surprised that in around 9 months, we did 8 talks, 8 meetings, 8 CMEs we did. I think the most robust program has been the Green program. We're pan country, we did 8 meetings and CMEs, which has not been done in any other program till yet in 1 year. We got so many people who are environmental experts from the different fields, and they got together in ESG consultancies we did. So we brought out bulletins. I think the only one. Only this group, since I'm watching from far away, I'm involved. I got my fingers in every nook and corner. I think this green team brought out 10 bulletins. They're probably more than the conversations or official publication. And working on a new topic is always a challenge. Talking about fertilization is very simple, or IVF is very simple. But talking about green IVF, every topic has been beautifully carved, and bringing out 10 bulletins is not a joke, and I want to put it on records. So I think we had a lot of outreach programs, and on 25th of July, we had a very beautiful program which was done. And I think before that, we had the program at Varanasi, which Dr. Ritu did. Dr. Ritu is here. Dr. Ritu Khanna.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We had a lovely program. It was in month of June or July, ma'am, or July.
It was in May, sir. May.
May. So May we had a beautiful program on Ghats of Varanasi, which Meenu very beautifully framed on my sheet. We had a lovely meeting there, and we released some balloons, and I think we just wanted to make a small dent. एक चिंगारी लगा रहे थे हम तो. आई थिंक वो कितनी बड़ी आग लगने वाली है आने वाले समय के अंदर, वो सब लोग आप लगाएंगे, बट वी जस्ट वांटेड टू पुट अ फायर इन द haystack and we have burnt it actually. So and then we, on the 25th of July, we had a beautiful program which was being conducted by Sweta, our incoming Secretary General. She did a great job. and we had a beautiful program in South Delhi. We had a walkathon and multiple other things. So beautifully carved program. We released our guidelines. A small book was brought out that day. The very beautiful book, in which you have not seen, it is available on the website. You can watch it. Very nice booklet was brought out. But we didn't stop there, and I had given a promise as a president and an elder brother that we'll take it to greater heights. So we got a opportunity to work with IHW, and then we had one sustainability hour in that meeting, which again shook the whole of reproductive medicine people all over the country. That first time we came as a big group, and we had a 1 hour session on the sustainability hour. The platform, we call ourselves Green Warriors, as we all know, and we are not talking about green saving money on the drugs, not at all. Our agenda is to made in India. हम आत्मनिर्भर भारत बनाएंगे, ये हमारा सपना है. हम इसी पे काम कर रहे हैं इसके अंदर. Second was to reduce energy consumption, where we have minimal energy being burnt anywhere. This was the main aim. And see what has happened. I had to put an AC example there. मुझे एक AC लगाना है in my clinic. AC is 4-ton AC, and the ton of the AC price has gone by around rupees 25,000. My orders were booked initially, giving me. He says because LPG is not coming. So government has said कि AC के चक्कर में तुम don't AC का रेट बढ़ा दिया उन्होंने, LPG का रेट बढ़ा दिया. So just see that अगर एक लड़ाई लड़ता है अमेरिका, तो हमारी country goes into backfooting. But what if in case we have got solar energy, in case my AC would work on solar energy, ACs have to work. Because they could work with solar panels, nothing like it. They still work on gases. So everywhere there's a gas, so that we have to now cut down. So the Green Forum, here again, Bindu ma'am and Loveleen, you did a fantastic job. And there was a time when I was getting into more of fertilization. It happens in last 3-4 months. There's a time you took off the work, and we very beautifully drafted the green guidelines. I wanted to be a 20-point program like our previous prime ministers. India is famous for 20-point programs. So I wanted to make 20-point programs, and we made. So we enrolled 5 clinics. The 5 clinics were enrolled, and I think Sarappreet is here from one of the clinics. So 5 clinics were Ruchika has also enrolled. So 5 clinics were enrolled, and all of them, they did a great job, and they were all inspected pre and post. I always believe in having ideation and execution. I am eating mind of everyone. Don't kill me by ideation. Ideations are available by Gemini. Execute. How do we execute? And you guys execute it. You actually execute it. And all of you may not understand what is tonnage of an AC, what is the power, how much does diesel does a DC set guzzle. You won't understand how much wattage of light every bulb. We've done that. We have also calculated how much energy goes in running a geyser in every unit. So beautiful. Lab work was led by Sarappreet and Yogesh. I think I can see Pooja Avasti. Pooja, where are you? Put the camera on. So we did this. We went around every unit and looked how it worked, and then they were awarded. They were also awarded, and they were given certifications. Before we finished our fertilization, we had a podcast. Podcast was done by the coordinator, and Minu was the coordinator of that. It was a super hit podcast we did on a Green IVF, and then we had a panel. We had a very nice panel on Green ART as we ended our the meeting. It was prime time पे हमने 1 घंटे का session रखा था. All the 5 chosen green centers were given a certificate. The white paper, first time in this country, we had a white paper. A white paper. We are not a political body. We are an academic. IFS is a pure academic body. We don't believe in blowing our own trumpet. But you must know, you should be very proud that all of you have contributed to the white paper. It's a masterpiece. And many people are reading papers all over the world are reading that. They give an Indian scenario. So give a pat on your back and feel very proud of it. We Indians, IFS is never proud of it. We don't go on online and tell people what we have done. We won't do blah blah blah. But we are hardcore workers. We people work on the ground, and what you have done is super. And the long-term vision is now. This point has been coming from many people. I also thought now we have to now start doing some sort of research, and this is what we'll be doing in the coming next 2 or 3 years. Pick a few points of concern. Let's pick up something like how does pollution affect the embryo outcome so that people get more interested. So the agenda will be there. We'll pick up few centers who are willing to come into the play. This point came to me around 1.5 months back. Meenu brought it to me, but I wanted to just close the elections and everything. Now we're going to do it now. So what we're going to do is that we'll enroll few centers who are willing to share their data and then look at how the pollution affects it'll be actually a retrospective study only, not a prospective study to start with. This is what we can do. Sarabpreet can help us in this. He can plan something, and Bindu ma'am with more of an embryology part. We can do that. And multiple, I request you all to give us some more ideas what we can do. We must bring out few publications. So this is very, very important. And Bindu ma'am, before I think we close this tenure, we have 4 to 5 days, but we are warriors, we can do it. At least send a green paper for publication in our own journal. That should be done. We should make our white paper being published in our journal. This is very, very important. This is my request to you, and both you and Laveen can do it. And Mimo is there to help us all the time. Even if you need anything from my side, I'm with you. So with this, I think that's all I want to speak. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and stay blessed and stay happy. Dhanyavad. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Bharti, Dr. Shweta Mittal, ma'am, can we have few words from you also?
I think Dr. Bharti, ma'am, I would like to hear from you first.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good evening, all. Excellent job done by Dr. Pankaj Talwar, Dr. Shweta and her team. Very innovative subject of green IVF. We are going to see this all across now over a period of time, carbon footprinting and this. I remember when Dr. Pankaj Talwar said me about green IVF, I was thinking only of, soft protocol and then maybe less medication. And then he said, no, we have a lot of things which we can include into green IVF. And then I started exploring the way we did the webinar, and I realized, yes, we are doing so many things different we can do. And I first time realized this carbon footprint. And then you see now everywhere you will slowly start seeing that people are aware about how much you have been sending this carbon and how the atmosphere has been slowly getting load of this. And this is what we have to also learn from as a citizen, as a doctor, a part of society. This was a wonderful lesson for ourselves. We changed so many things in our own IVF lab after I started involved in the Green IVF. So thank you very much for this team, and keep it up. And as you said, first of its kind white paper, we have all contributed in the newsletter. That is another very simply amazing. And now, as Dr. Pankaj very correctly said, probably we should have some research papers, like whatever these 5 people have been 5 centers, what was their pre and now, what is the post green IVF, what is the difference? Is it making statistically different and economically also? Because both the things has to be very important. So probably a way to go ahead. Still, you have a lot of years to work, Shweta and Dr. Pankaj. This is not end. If we have taken that green IVF as a theme, we whole team should still keep working. So thank you so much for making me a part of this green IVF. I'm really very thankful to the IFS, the whole team, and especially Dr. Pankaj Talwar and Dr. Shweta Mittal. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
And
So
I'm thankful to Dr. Bindu, Loveleen. These all people are making, vibrant this subject itself. They're keeping it alive. So as Dr. Pankaj said, they are all the backbone of Green IVF. Thank you.
I can only say that I remember when the first Fertivision conference at Ahmedabad during our tenure was ending, and Sir came up with this idea, and he said, "No, I have this in mind, and we need to get it executed." So initially, just sounded what is green IVF? That's the question in everybody's mind. Then we started exploring that what is exactly sustainable IVF and green IVF, and there was a beautiful article which was shared in the group. If you all remember, the first article, which was very extensive, then everybody started exploring how it can be done in India and what are the things we are already doing. I and Dr. Loveleen were part of the clinical group, and how it was divided into different sub segments. Dr. Meenu, Dr. Bindu, and Dr. Bharti Dore Patil were very beautifully, and Dr. Loveleen getting the whole thing executed. And how Sir was so brilliantly, summing up everything, coming up with, idea to make it a successful executional program, which could be included in clinical practice too. So I think, yeah, what Sir is saying is absolutely true, that we need to publish this and we will get it published. And this work can go on. It's not an end. I think it is just a thought, a beginning, and which can continue very well in our, reproductive medicine practices. So overall, this whole green IVF has been a very thought-provoking idea and a practice or a methodology, whatever we can say, in our lives.
Thank you, ma'am. This all was very insightful. And as a beginner, I would really say, yes, we have lots to do. And so now moving on, I would request Dr. Bharti ma'am to invite the session, invite Miss Asha and Vasudha for the session on sustainable options for existing healthcare facilities. I'll just show this.
Yes. Dr. Afshan, welcome.
Miss
She's
Asha.
Miss
Miss
Afshan and Consult. So she is an architect focused on the greening real estate and improving occupant experience. That's something different. Masters in sustainable design from University of Sydney, author of multiple publications on energy efficient buildings, specialized in public policies, London School of Economics, and advisor to a national and state ministry in India. Experienced across policy, research, implementation in building energy efficiency. Currently, with working with World Bank Group, that is IFC, and past work with UN bodies and leading corporates. I think such a young girl and so much of work and very fun together. So we will very, very keen on listening to you. Welcome all to Afshan.
Thank you.
Ma'am, could you introduce the second speaker also, because they are doing it together actually?
I think you can just take the initial.
Shweta ko bolo. Shweta. Dr. Shweta.
Can I have?
Yes, ma'am. This is Dr. Vasudha Sungar.
Oh,
We
this
can-
is really busy. I need to filter it out, but just let me see. So, she's Vasudha Sangar, if I'm spelling it correctly, and she's an international finance. She's with professional experience, corporation, the World Bank Group, the technical specialist in Green Building Program India, and the Climate Business Department. This is the right thing which I'm saying, and she is into the project which is called Green Building India Program of South Asia. And she's also with Green Tech Knowledge Solutions Private Limited, where she's a senior consultant, and she's been into multiple projects which I can see. And is there anything else which I'm missing? I can see multiple publications, papers, memberships, and definitely a lot of technical skills. So I'm looking forward. It's a very new thing for us because we are dealing with all the medical knowledge, and now here we are looking at the other aspect of green sustainability. So the forum is all yours.
Thank you, ma'am, for the introduction. May I ask the speakers to now share the screen for the lecture?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share my screen. Please let me know once you can see it, and then I'll kick off.
Yeah, it's visible.
Perfect, thanks. So I think before we get deeper into a few thoughts that we have to share here for this great agenda on all of you trying to green the IVF sector, because we're architects, we deal with the real estate and the core and shell, which is the building per se. And there's a lot of change that any practice that is happening inside a building, not only the practice, but also the people who are working inside the building, they can feel much better with the building envelope being designed and functioning in a much more mindful manner. And that's what we are here to talk about. So how can simple, small design changes in the way probably each one of you is running your facility can help you get a step closer to the larger goal that you are out here to achieve, which is a greener and more sustainable practice and inevitably a better impact on the climate that's outside. So I have a very quick exercise for all of you, and I hope you can all see my screen. I have a screen up with 9 different pictures here, and all of us visit multiple different facilities on a daily basis. So I want you to try and guess based on your own understanding of what it means to be sitting inside a green facility. Can you tell me which of this building is a green building to you?
E.
I think an
No,
A.
it's A. It's
G.
A actually.
A and
And maybe C. C also.
G.
I.
A.
A, C, and I'm not sure about I.
A and E.
I and G.
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 So
G.
I think we have our contenders here, which is A, E, G, I, right? And I can sort of make out why all of you might have pointed towards these buildings. A is always a winner whenever we use this because the solar panels speak for itself. The greenery, perhaps, and the green roof speak for itself. But the surprising thing is that all of these buildings are green buildings, in fact. There's no single building on the screen which isn't green, which brings me to the core of my point that any old, new, traditional, modern building can be a green building because there are so many features that go in which are not clearly visible from the outside for someone to identify it as a green building. And with that, I am going to get to my next slide, which is to talk about when is it that we can call a facility green? Because all of us have heard of multiple different ways in which we can. I had Dr. Pankaj talk about how we want to reduce the amount of energy that we are using. We're all hearing about solar panels being used on a daily basis, right from residential to commercial buildings. But for you to be able to achieve green in any asset that you're operating, it is very important for you to be able to quantify that green because it is the operationality of a building that helps you in saving your energy, saving your water, and perhaps incurring lesser bills on these two very major resources that all of us are using on a daily basis. So globally, there were multiple interpretations of what a green building is, and a very simplified definition was arrived at, which is acceptable, that for any building to be categorized as sustainable, you need to be performing at least 20% better than your neighbor's building, whatever may be the function. Because if you are able to save 20% on the energy that is required to run your operations, you are able to save at least 20% water that is meant to run your operations, you can definitely be categorized as a green building. And all the multiple different parameters that we hear about, right from a solar to a 5-star rated air conditioner, these are all just measures that help us get to that 20%. So I just wanted to bring this in here so that we're all on the same page when we want to understand what it means to be green as an asset. I think this has very well been established because it's just now when I heard Dr. Pankaj, I've known that this group has been talking about green for very long. But greening of asset in itself is also known to be very good because it is making you responsible towards the amount of energy you're using, the water you're using, the materials that are going into the construction of your building. That is, if you are building something that is a new asset. Otherwise, if it's an old asset, there are multiple other changes we do with it. Carbon, I think there couldn't be a better time that all of us would be speaking about carbon because India has just launched its carbon market where carbon is going to be monetized upon as well 2 days back. Healthcare, although is yet to enter as a sector because we've just started with a few sectors for India, but slowly and steadily, for any one of us who's
Linkage रख देना 6 डिशें ट्रांसफर वाली
Sarappreet, can you mute yourself?
I think it's done. So for any one of us who's going to build and operate an asset in a very sustainable manner, we can all actually start monetizing on the amount of carbon that we are going to save because carbon selling is going to become a very open market in India. And it's a great opportunity. It's a great point for all of us to start, even beyond the mindfulness that we want to bring for the environment. Healthcare as a sector has been of great focus to all of us who are working in this particular space because we've all known that it's very, very energy intensive. I was not very well aware of everything that goes typically into an IVF center, but with all the research and reading that I've been doing over the past couple of weeks, it's clear that cooling requirement ends up being a very critical component of any center that is running in the country. Now, why we need to understand the intersection of a building and the cooling requirement is because, number one, the only thing that is keeping your outdoor from coming indoor. When I say outdoor, I mean your heat, your pollutants, your natural light. The only thing that is differentiating between the indoor and outdoor is your facade. It's the building that you're building, right? And the way you're operating it. Now, if we have a building that is better, we're going to capture lesser heat inside a building. What that automatically means is the load that is going to go onto the air conditioner that is on the wall in any room, in any facility, that's automatically going to go down because the amount of air that it is supposed to cool is going to become lesser. And what that means directly is it's going to also help us save energy and it's going to help us actually save a lot of costs that all of us are spending. This is disposable income that we are spending to run our facilities as well. And HVAC, which is in a way a form of cooling, is actually accounting for almost 30 to 65% of the total energy that any of your facilities are using at this point in time. And eventually, my colleague is going to speak a little bit about different ways in which you can perhaps go back and look into the systems that are being used to see how you can try to bring down that energy demand. So I think this sort of is the culmination of everything that we talk about when we talk about how, from where you are standing today, can you become greener as a facility. So it always has to be a stepwise approach because going green, especially in an existing building, can be very capital intensive at times. And not all of us have that disposable capex to our disposal so that we can go all in one particular go. So the stepwise approach that we generally take, and apologies, I just noticed that the numbering is wrong. It should be 1 and then 2. The first one is we begin with very light changes within the building that we are operating. Light changes, while Vasudha is going to elaborate more, it can be something as simple as let's put more greenery around all the windows that we have, at least on the accessible floors, because that is going to reduce the amount of heat that comes into our building. And inevitably, that is going to reduce the pressure on the cooling services that we need for our building. So very simple, very minimal capex changes that can help you reduce your demand for energy and cooling is something that we categorize as light retrofits, and we advise people to first start with that. This can perhaps take you to anywhere between 1 to 2% energy efficiency. After that, we come to the next level, which is our step 2. This is where we look into upgrading, again, some low capex systems which exist within our building. So upgrading the type of lighting that you're using, upgrading or perhaps looking at the servicing of the HVAC systems that you're using within your building, upgrading the water fixtures that you're using within your building. These things can help you get to your next level. And then start coming our steps, which are a little more capital intensive, which we categorize then as deep retrofits. These are retrofits where some of you might be required to take a step back and look at the civil design of the building altogether. Glass buildings are becoming very, very common nowadays because number one, they're aesthetically pleasing, and number two, I think in any industry, including yours, you will agree that experience is what has started mattering to the client that is stepping inside a facility. It's not more about the service that they get, but the overall experience that they get. And a fancy glass building at times speaks more to the client that is coming in. Now, what that means is that glass is making you, as a person who's running your building, capture a lot of heat. And then for the person who's walking into your building, you're cooling it down so that he feels comfortable. And that's where you are paying the cost of comfort that is coming in for someone else who is using your building. And again, looking at it from a business standpoint is very critical for your business endeavors as well. So that exactly is the cusp that we are going to talk about, how we can make a facade perhaps better as a part of deep retrofits. And then come other things which Dr. Pankaj also touched upon earlier, which is installing renewables such as solar panels. And then solar panels are also not a very easy solution because all of us have paucity of space nowadays. And to be able to run the energy that is needed for a particular building, you also need a particular amount of open space for you to be placing those number of panels. So for whatever demand can be met with the available space that you have at your facility, that is what we call our on-site renewable. And after that, nowadays, we have a lot of these companies that exist in the market which are producing green electricity because they are producing electricity using hydro, wind, and other green resources rather than burning fossil fuels. So we also have some clients who then choose to buy the remaining energy that they need to run their facility from a green source. So that in totality, now when you finish this stepwise approach, you have inevitably lowered the demand, yet you can never get zero, right? You will always need energy to run a space. And then you've tried to meet that need using resources that are more sustainable and more eco-friendly. So with that, I'll pass it on to Vasudha because she'll speak about some simple tips and tricks perhaps that all of you can adopt without the need for expensive consultants to come in and conduct audits of the site, which can help all of you start getting to at least 5 to 10% better with the energy that you're consuming. Over to you, Vasudha.
Thanks a lot, Avsha. Good evening, everyone. I hope you all can hear me.
Yes, loud and clear.
Thanks, Afsha. Yeah, before I actually start talking about these simple measures, I wanted to thank all of you for having us to do this presentation because I actually come here with two hats on. One, like Afsha and others mentioned, as an architect who's working with sustainable buildings, but also somebody who's recently entered motherhood. So I am actually aware of how sacred the beginning of life is, and that's why it is so essential to ensure that that environment is clean and it is safe for your patients. and the precious lives that you help to create, doctors. So thanks a lot for having me and Afsha talk about this particular topic. So like Afsha mentioned uh, that IVF centers, so to say, they are very energy intensive and they entail HVAC systems. Like others also mentioned here, it's a well-known fact that IVF labs are known to be the most resource-intensive units because they run 24 hours a day and they require strict temperature control. And that's where the capex also increases. Other than that, we also see that there are equipments uh, which are installed. They consume significant amount of energy, and they run continuously. Other than that, there is continuous use of incubators and air infiltration because we want the environment to be very clean and safe for the patients. Lastly, high water consumption. Not only the HVAC systems that we're talking about, but the regular medical procedures also entail high water consumption. So that is also something that we would be talking about in our next slides. And actually, before we go to these very simple solutions, because we did not want it to be very technical, we have placed some case studies that can give you an idea of how very simple, minute measures can also make such a great impact. One of these examples is Cochin Cancer Research Center. It is based in Kerala. And actually, Afsha and I both have closely evaluated the green measures of this building. So it's a 397-bedded prestigious project of the Kerala government. And the idea was to promote faster recovery of the patients and visual comfort because we're looking at cancer patients. So the design involved optimized fenestration area. So they ensured that there is optimum window sizing where the patient can have good daylight, but they do not have to face any visual discomfort. So which aids to faster recovery. Then energy efficient lighting like LED lighting. LED lighting has been very prevalent within residential areas as well as commercial areas. So that was used. To reduce the heat gain through the roof, insulated roofs were done, wherein we were using a insulated material of a certain thickness to ensure thermal comfort for the top floor. At the same time, an efficient water-cooled chiller system with high COP was installed to reduce electricity bills. Nowadays, we see every equipment to be installed with B star rating. I'm sure you might have also considered the star rating of the equipment while purchasing these day-to-day electrical equipments. Just like that, the cooling system also comes with its own B star rating. So we should try and see that the COP, coefficient of performance, or how it is written on the label, it is ICER, which is seasonal energy efficiency ratio, is it is star rated, at least 3 or 4 star rated if you do not want to go with the highest, because then it comes with the cost for sure. And lastly, the project also had efficient water fixtures to conserve water. Afsha, can you go to the next slide? Thanks. Then this case study, and actually I would like to mention what Afsha was highlighting, that it took us weeks of research to understand that why greening of healthcare and IVF centers is so essential. Because not only it consumes a lot of cooling load in a tropical country like India, but it runs throughout the year. That's why it is very important to actually do greening of IVF centers. Now, while I was doing this research, I went through this research paper which has considered projects who were trying to achieve green level certified certification from an organization called My Green Lab. Now, My Green Lab actually certifies laboratories in Dublin to by evaluating that the center is it is meeting all the energy efficiency requirements. I have tried to cover the energy and water measures that they could implement. But before I go there, what is unique about this project is also that the team members here try to gather all the senior management. Sorry, just give me a moment. Yeah, they try to gather all the senior management and other stakeholders who are involved in the working and operation of the center to identify some good practices to ensure that the building is energy efficient, starting with use of LED lighting. They also try to turn off all non-essential equipment, where we are talking about automated turn off and turn off of these equipments, because that can make a great impact to the overall equipment load. Use of LED lighting, then all equipment were less than 2-year-old, because all of these operations require maintenance, and their whole electricity source was 100% renewable. One of the changes implemented, I mentioned. The other was that they tried to set up their PC to auto update and turn off at 5 p.m. daily, which was their operational hours. And while they were upgrading the building, they also tried and replaced the AHU with an efficient one. And when one sees to change their HVAC system, like I mentioned before, it is very essential to focus on the B star rating or the performance of that system. So if you do that, it's not only going to save you on the cooling consumption, but also reduce your electricity bills. Now, talking about their future goals, they also intend to perform an energy audit to get a closer monitoring of their project. They're also considering to comply with ISO standards for environmental management and practice of improving energy efficiency in clean rooms and clean air devices. When I talk about water conservation, they were trying to use minimal water usage for hand washing, and they had installed aerators which could reduce their water flow by 50%. I would be talking a little more about this in upcoming slides. Thanks, Asha. Now, the third case study is a multi-specialty 350-bedded hospital in Pune. In my past organization, they were lucky enough to get involved in this project and in the construction and conceptualizing of this project from the start, wherein they could try and introduce energy efficient measures from the stage of construction, starting stage of construction. So, and that's where they could ensure that there is huge energy savings. The project could achieve 16% energy savings with green measures. In our field, we call it integrated design charrettes. Now, we do it for our designing purposes, but while I was doing some research, this is one procedure that has been mentioned, and it has tried to show results that when all the stakeholders involved, they gather and discuss about the good practices, the green practices that can be installed in their clinic, it definitely gives results, because they're working together on it and they can talk about the challenges faced from the start. So this is something that I would also encourage, that it is done sometime whenever you consider working on a certain project. So to ensure that that thermal comfort is achieved, roof insulation was implemented. Then the window size was optimized to ensure that there is visual comfort. And specifically, I wanted to talk a little about their HVAC interventions, although a little technical, but they could make a huge impact. First is they could try and reduce their system sizing by dynamic simulations. Now, when I say dynamic simulations, they were trying to see the tonnage requirements of the cooling system throughout the day. The tonnage, the requirement of cooling might be very high during daytime, noon time, where we have direct sunlight, because the heat gains are going to be very high. However, it would be relatively less during evening hours. So with this system sizing, they could reduce the tonnage by 16.5%, which is very significant. Then they could install a high efficiency chiller, which would be equivalent to be 5-star energy rated. And one point that we consider very less in buildings like healthcare is free cooling. So on days when the weather outside is very pleasant, the system stops using power, as in it stops cooling the air, but it simply takes the outside air because it is pleasant and it is cool, and it filters out all the pollutants from the building vents. So that's how a free cooling can also make an impact in the cooling consumption of the project, and in turn reducing the electricity bills.
Vasudha, I'm going to go to the next slide, and I've been asked if we can wrap up in another 2 minutes. So I think we'll just touch upon these simple measures and not go into detail.
Sure, because we have touched upon these measures throughout the case studies, but I'll quickly go on to these.
Yeah.
So we are touching upon very simple measures that an existing building can adopt. Starting with external shading devices, we all of us have seen these shading devices in form of chhajjas in our residential buildings. However, apart from chhajjas, we can also focus on side pins, horizontal shading, awnings, and as architects, what we try to do is block the south and west orientation of the building, because that experiences very harsh sunlight, which increases your cooling loads. So it's very important to focus on north, on south and west, and you can actually enjoy the daylight coming from the north side. Then installing white tiles on roof. And nowadays, manufacturers also give a simple metric, which is SRI, when we say that the SRI should be maintained above 90. This gives you a validation of the product that you're buying is actually going to reduce the temperature inside by 4 degrees Celsius. And
can we also use reflective paints rather than tiles? Will that help?
Definitely. Yeah, that is also going to help. It's just that it's low cost for sure, but it requires maintenance every 4 years. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. BLDC fans, they have been very commonly installed now, and I think somewhere the manufacturers have been successful in reducing their overall costs as well. So the ceiling fans, if installed, be 5-star rated or less than 35 watts, they give considerable amount of reduction in your electricity bills. In terms of water conservation, we always suggest to have dual flush tanks to reduce water wastage. Next. Low flow taps, wherein we suggest that when you use aerators, then the liter per minute supply should be less than 4 LPM. This reduces the water use. Next. Smart temperature monitoring systems, why we wanted explicitly to mention this is that IoT-based enabled sensors and Wi-Fi, when backed with real-time time tracking and automated logging off, can make a huge difference to your electricity bills. So definitely consider implementing this. LED lighting, like mentioned before, they have a wattage of as low as 20 to 30 watts as compared to a conventional lamp, which can go as high as 150 watts. We have mentioned a lot about this, so I'll skip this. Rainwater harvesting is something very less implemented, but very essential if we live in a city which experiences a lot of rainfall. We definitely see residential societies implementing rooftop harvesting, but these can be done for large scale projects as well. Asha, next. Yeah, and like Dr. Talwar was mentioning about use of solar panels, nowadays there are several system sizing tools, because while in our experience we have seen projects overestimating the PV sizing, and it incurs a cost. There's definitely a capex involved. So there are different sizing applications mentioned. Whenever you want to install renewable energy solar panels on your system, you can use PV watts or solar atlas, which helps you to design your system as per the building area. Lastly, solar water heating, because like I mentioned, these centers also entail good amount of water. It would be very good if the project can install uh, solar water heating. And solar water manufacturers nowadays have sizing calculators on their website based on the number of occupants. So it has become very easy for the layman also to gather the system sizing calculations. So that's all I wanted to mention. Afsha, can you go next if you're left with any other slide? All right. Thanks a lot. Just the last point that I wanted to mention is whenever it comes to medicine, we always say prevention is better than cure. That's what we also believe in our strategy, that we always try and reduce the loads by and not directly go to renewable energy, just like Afsha mentioned. That's why it's important to focus on the passive strategies as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Afsha. Thank you, Vasudha. Can we have the closing remarks from the chairpersons? There's, I think, one question in the chat box also.
Dr. Sarippreet can ask directly.
Yeah, I wanted to ask what's called carbon selling. You mentioned this word.
Yeah, so carbon selling is a concept that's actually been used by other countries quite a lot. As a practice, as a business, be it in any industry, if you are able to measure the amount of carbon that you are saving, so let's say I am building something efficient and I'm able to save a certain amount of carbon. There is a manufacturing unit that is running in India that is making clothes for H&M, which is not able to save that much carbon, and they are exceeding the allowable limit for their business. He can buy my savings against a dollar value. So that at the end of the day, as a country, with all the businesses running across, you are neutral in value. So any carbon that you save will eventually start becoming tradable at a price. And carbon intensive businesses will start buying out from it. And on a lighter note, to be honest, right from a Jeff Bezos to a Mukesh Ambani today hold most of their money in forests and agricultural land. This is exactly the reason. They are not holding money in real estate like probably all of us do in India, buying plots and flats, right? The reason is because they are going to be able to save so much carbon because their greenery is going to use it, produce oxygen. They will quantify that carbon and tomorrow start selling it at an exuberant price to all of us who will have to cap the amount of carbon that we are producing. So this entire exchange from a deficit to someone who is on a surplus is what we call carbon selling.
I have a question, Asha, that
That's the business of the future, on the lighter note.
yeah, I mean, that's what, but considering the global context, I mean, since you people are so much into it, do you really think that the world leaders, I mean, like the way the scenario was very recently, you think we can really do something about it, or it's like kind of, because unless it is done at the global level, only then probably it comes down to the national level and then it percolates down. So do you really think that, there is that intent? Because some of the leading world leaders were not very supportive of all of these measures, globally speaking.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of change, especially in the amount of funding and money that's coming towards green or climate as a sector. And there's a lot of sensitivity around the use of this term as well now, mostly led by the United States. But we see it as a part of all the countries' own agenda. Like India has its own goals, and I'm sure most of you are aware we have a net zero goal.
Yeah, Modi has been quite supportive of all the green measures. Yes, of course. Look.
Is end of the day, the real realization that's coming right from the research angle that we carry in climate as a field is the climate is actually becoming. It's scary to see the way the temperatures are rising, and no better audience than doctors to be talking about it, right? Right from a 99, when you get to 100 degrees, you prescribe a paracetamol because it's actually you're running fever. Similarly, when we are looking at the temperature that our Earth is carrying, we're already 2.5 degrees higher than the prescribable limit, which means we're burning at a certain rate. And because of that, even if we keep aside all other things, it is percolating into the productivity of all of us as human resources, who are one of the most essential ones. So understanding that entire dynamic of we really need to do something about it, because today is the best of how it is going to be. All the governments are taking it seriously. State governments in India are coming up with targets of their own. From the states, it is percolating into ULBs, which are the urban local bodies who are the actual implementers of policy for all of us, right? As an occupant of a residential building to probably a business person who's running an institution. So I think it's all coming in. The government is also going to bring in incentives and penalization, both around non-sensitivity and sensitivity to concepts like this. So I think it's just a matter of time. But for people who start today, I think we'll just be ahead of the curve.
Thank you.
Yeah, Aksha, I also wanted just to add to Aksha's point that, like Dr. Meenu mentioned, that once it is at the global level is only when it's going to come at the national level also. Definitely, like Aksha mentioned, there is awareness. But for information, the Bureau of Energy Efficiency is also, it's coming with its own framework, India's framework of CCTS, which is Carbon Credit Trading System. It's still in the process, but would be soon launched. So once this trading system is in place, the carbon trading will actually be very fastly used. So yeah, just wanted to
It was
highlight
launched
that.
2 days back by the Bureau in New Delhi.
Really?
That's why.
Oh, that's great. Great to know.
Some very interesting information, which I think it will take us a little while to understand. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ms. Vasudha and Afsha. And I think you have got an honorary doctorate here in this webinar today. And we would request you to continue with the panel also, so that you understand better how we are trying to be practically inculcate green norms practically in our IVF centers. So it would be good if you could stay back and join us for the panel as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
So thank you, Afsa, and thank you both of you that done a very good job. Very different concept altogether. I just wanted to know, like, does it will cost more?
At
least initially.
Yes, there is some capital.
Especially for hospitals. Because you showed the Jupiter Hospital and this, because what happens, hospital economy is a little different than other businesses. So if you incur a very big cost initially, it is very difficult to hospital profitability and sustainability especially. So how do you address that? What do you feel? What is your opinion about it?
So I'll just answer very quickly in with two perspectives. Number one, building and operating green is not costlier than building and operating a regular building, and this has been proven through multiple research. But without getting into that, coming to your key concern, yes, there definitely has to be some sum of money that you keep aside, that you invest in bringing about these changes. But the real term based on which we look at the money you put is return on investment. And all of us are always looking at it as ROI. So you are able to meet your return on investment much faster, let's say within a period of 2 to 3 years, after which you are going to get into profitability. Because what you install today is definitely going to be used on your facility for at least 7 to 8 years, looking at the way we function as Indians, right? So one system we put, we definitely try to make it last with proper maintenance for at least those many years until the technology is drastically changed and we need an upgrade. So the return on investment is met quite ahead of time, and after that, the profitability starts showing.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. I think we can go ahead with next session. Thank you so much, Afsa.
Thank you, Asha and Vasudha. Thank you so much.
Vasudha.
Much awaited reverse panel discussion, which is how can I incorporate green changes in my clinic? So I would request the moderators, Dr. Loveleen Sodhi ma'am, who's Director cum Chief Consultant, Dr. Sodhi Healthcare Multi-Speciality Hospital and IVF Center, Mohali, Punjab, and Dr. Bindu Chimote, Senior Consultant, Clinical Embryologist and Secretary IFS Vidarbha Chapter, to start the panel. I would like to also invite our experts for the panel, which is Dr. Meenu. Dr. Meenu is a Senior Fertility Specialist with Cloud9 Fertility Delhi, previous center head at Birla Fertility and IVF Rohini Delhi, and now is the program coordinator for Green ART. Our next is Harpreet Singh. He is the head clinical embryology and andrology at the Artemis Health Institute since 2009, and he's the chair clinical embryology IFS 2024-26. Congratulations again, sir. Our next expert is Dr. Lakshmi Chirumamilla. She is her professional experience is around 15 years in infertility, and she's a co-editor of Indian edition of Human Reproduction. And her areas of expertise are male infertility, women with poor ovarian reserve, endometriosis, RIF, and cost-effective IVF. Welcome, ma'am. Our next is Dr. Ruchika. She is assistant professor and senior consultant IVF, Good Life Bareilly. So I would also like to invite the panelists for today's session. Dr. Shilpi Sood. She is, let me just close this. She is a consultant and managing director at Safal Hospital and Diva Fertility Center and past secretary Indian Fertility Society Vidarbha chapter. Dr. Chetra Nayak. She is the founder Kalpa Clinic and myivfdoctor.com and consultant at Strand Life Sciences Gates French Foundation. Welcome, ma'am. Dr. Rakhi Goel, a dear friend, and she is a senior consultant and center head Birla Fertility and IVF Chandigarh. Dr. C. Rajalakshmi, she's a consultant senior clinical embryologist at Ma Kaveri Fertility Center, Kaveri Hospital, Radial Road, Chennai, with over 9 years of experience. We have Dr. Dipali Shukla. She's a director, Shukla Advanced Infertility and Test Tube Baby Center, Akola. She's a member of IFS and ISAR. Dr. Nidhi Singh. She is a medical director at Tejashri Women's Wellness and Maternity Center and a senior consultant embryologist. And our last, she's the second last, Dr. Lakshmi Krishna Leela. She is a senior consultant fertility specialist at Lakshmi Fertility and Child Surgery Center, Hyderabad, and is a secretary IFS Telangana State Chapter. Welcome, ma'am. And Dr. Anju Mathur. She's a director, Mangalam Hospital, Jaipur. We welcome all our panelists, and I think I should now stop the sharing so that, ma'am, you can share the screen for the panel.
Yes. I'm not getting the share screen option.
Ma'am, you have to, there's a green button with a...
No, I got it. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. And after such a wonderful discussion, we had two very young and dynamic green architects amongst us. And after getting an overview of how to go about it, let us see how we can practically proceed with Green IVF in our IVF centers. So with that, I invite all my experts on behalf of myself and Dr. Loveleen Sodhi, it has been a pleasure preparing for the panel this evening. So experts, Dr. Meenu, Dr. Sarapreet, Dr. Lakshmi, and Dr. Ruchika, and all our panelists as well, expert panelists.
Is being recorded.
So there are 3 Lakshmis today.
Can you make yourself full screen, ma'am?
Yeah, just a moment. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have 3 Lakshmis. We'll address one as Raj.
There's echo also.
I don't know why.
Are you logged in from 2 devices?
No, it's from single device.
Or somebody else has logged in from 2 devices?
Someone must have logged in from 2 devices.
I think we're good now.
Yeah. So, okay, so we'll address one is Dr. Lakshmi C, who is the expert, Dr. Lakshmi K, who is the panelist, and Raj Lakshmi. So with that, let us proceed. We are a developing nation, lot of development, and with it comes industrialization, which is the need of the hour, of course. But at the same time, it has its ill effects. We have an emission of lot of greenhouse gases causing environmental pollution, and just we need not even tell what ill effects of environmental pollution are we having. Deforestation, depleting water reservoir, global warming, increased carbon footprint, and the impact on health. There is an impact overall on the health and especially on the reproductive health. So in the context of this, sustainability is no longer an option. It is a necessity. So with that, we now move on to our panelists. Dr. Loveleen.
Yeah. Can you move it to the next slide?
Yes. Dr. Ruchika Goyal.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Raki Goyal, sorry.
So I've gotten a basic idea about how does IVF contribute, but I would like to know more about how does specifically our practice of IVF in ART contributes towards generating the carbon footprint.
So basically, the healthcare industry as such has a huge carbon footprint, and IVF more so, simply because all the processes are very energy intensive. Already we've been talking that our HVACs and our the ACs and equipments, they run 24/7 all through the year. There is never a time when we are not using them. Plus cryopreservation and so much. I mean, each thing that we use in the lab comes packaged double. So there's so much packaging that is involved. Then there is a lot of scope 3 emission. People travel from far and wide. And of course, the number of IVF cycles is rapidly increasing simply because the infertility issues are increasing. So the whole thing results in a vicious cycle where IVF centers add to environmental degradation, which again leads to interferes with fertility, and it becomes a vicious circle.
Dr. Raki, you can ask the next question.
You muted, Dr. Raki.
Yeah. So what is green sustainable IVF? How do we go about it?
So IVF, we know it is an extremely result-oriented thing, So we want to decrease the carbon footprint, the greenhouse gases emission from our facilities. At the same time, we do not want to compromise on the quality of treatment. We do not want to compromise on the results. So that is sustainable IVF. Collaborative efforts to seek and formulate recommendations for IVF practitioners where we reduce carbon footprint. We wish to reach global net zero levels without compromising quality and results.
I think Dr. Chaitra, you can ask the next question, please.
Thank you for the kind invite. Very interesting about green IVF and green reducing the carbon footprint. Where do we start? What is the first steps towards making our clinics eco-friendly? So that's a question which we have.
Well, that is the most pertinent question because talking big things about green IVF is all right, but then how to really go about it? So the first and foremost is to have awareness of what green IVF or green ART is all about. So first, at our own level, we need to build a green team to inform and educate our colleagues, employees, the staff, even the patients coming to our clinic, all need to understand what green norms are, what green approaches are, how environmental pollution can harm the reproductive health as well. So we have to take everyone into confidence and build a dialogue with them and bring about little changes. So green awareness is the first step towards this initiative, and also try to give incentives by saying that whoever strives to take better steps will get some reward or some incentive, so that they are more motivated towards the green approaches in their clinic on a day-to-day level. Also, not just our staff and colleagues, but we need to disseminate this concept of green IVF. And for this, we can have little CMEs at the local levels for IVF units, maybe to begin with, at our own clinic. Then we can have at our own city level, where we can have little awareness programs and inter-team coordination of how to give and take of ideas on how to bring about green changes in our IVF setup. So awareness programs, we can even bifurcate for clinicians separately, for embryologists and for the staff, and of course for the patients as well. So all these things we need to streamline, so that before bringing about the actual green changes in the ART clinic, we need to first understand at our own level, we need to understand what this whole concept of green IVF is all about. Only then we can move forward specifically in a specific direction. Dr. Shilpi. Dr. Shilpi?
Yeah, very well said.
Are you there?
Yeah. Thank you for the invite. And I really thank Dr. Talwar and team. Really, they are bringing up this very, very great idea. And we have to work on this. We understand that the team is working. And as Dr. Loveleen has already mentioned, there are a lot of carbon emissions footprints are there when we are practicing, when we're doing our day-to-day activities in IVF lab. And there should be a lot of initiatives. And Dr. Bindu has already mentioned how we can make it more aware, and a lot of discussions what we are doing. But what are the basic steps in the clinic that can help in reducing carbon footprints and emissions? What is the role of clinician? Actually, as a clinician, I should be very well aware so that I can spread this knowledge to everyone.
Rightly said, Dr. Shilpi. The clinician is the maestro, the director of the entire IVF orchestra in most units, most of the IVF units. So right from building the green team, as nicely explained by Dr. Bindu, then we need to look at different aspects. So one of those very important aspects is to save paper. Once we save paper, we are saving trees. So we should strive to run a paperless clinic, which is not all that easy. And a lot of, digitalization doesn't mean you're going paperless. A lot of centers will have all the paperwork, and then they will put the information. The employees will sit down and upload the information on the net, or digitalize it. But then we are kind of using double resources. Either we go paperless, we have green prescriptions, and we do away with paper, or otherwise we can simply just use less paper. Same prescription, write multiple times. When you are taking print on both sides of the paper, just reducing the font, from 14 to 11, if you reduce the font of your printer of the document, that itself will lead to a lot of reduced paper utilization. Then you can have greener alternatives. So instead of tissue papers, which the regular one, you can use bamboo tissue paper. Instead of using tissue paper, in fact, you can have these lint-free wipes in the lab. Then reducing energy consumption. We've all talked about solar panels, LED lights, and then there's something called as smart switches, where when you walk into the room, the light comes on. So certain areas where you don't really need the light on. And one of our Green IVF centers, Dr. Sarabpreet, I don't know if he's there. So he had a nice idea where, there are times of the day when you need more light, when there are times of the day when you don't need too much light. So different sets of switches which are marked 1, 2, 3. When you need less light, it is number 1, and a certain number of lights comes on. When you switch on number 2, then the more lights will come on. So there are innovative ideas where how you can
Actually, a very
save
simple one, ma'am.
electricity.
This one is
Very
so
simple
simple,
one.
all of
This
us
is
can
very simple.
execute it for
Absolutely.
trials. Yes.
Then obviously turning off equipment, not using screensavers, in the stars energy, we've already been talking about star rating of our equipment, things which we don't look at. I mean, after we were doing all this, I looked at dismay, that some of the refrigerators and ACs in my home or in my office were actually even 1 star. I had never actually bothered to look at it all these years. So all these things are extremely important. So regular maintenance, because if maintenance is done, then the energy consumption is much lesser. Then second is reducing water also. So this is a wrong way. The first picture shows, while the person is scrubbing the health person, the tap is continuously flowing. Better than that is to have sensor tap, and the best is probably to have foot sensors. So when you need to have the water running, you will have you can just press down on the foot switch. Then leaky taps, of course, to be repaired, and so on and so forth. Our architects already talked about rainwater harvesting. And also, we have grey water systems wherein the water from the bathrooms and the washing machines can be recycled, used for watering plants, washing cars, etc. So that way, we have reduced water consumption, reduced electricity consumption, reduced paper consumption, and all these things go a long way in making
I
the
think
IVF
Dr.
lab
Ruchika
greener.
Goyal can add. She was one of the IVF centers and beautiful rainwater harvesting systems. So Dr. Sarapreet probably can add something, and Dr. Ruchika as well, about recycling and reuse as well as rainwater harvesting. Dr. Ruchika?
Thank you, ma'am. And first of all, I would like to thank the whole IFS team and the team Green IVF for making me a part of this Green IVF initiative. Initially, I was also in doubts because I thought Green IVF was just some building changes. But when I went into the depth, I saw that changes were to be made at every level so as to implement to bring about the needed change. And first change was to bring about the awareness, so that is the most important thing. Our hospital, being a multi-speciality teaching hospital, had initiated certain green initiatives already. We have rain harvesting programs with around 100 rain harvesting units, which are being used for the way for the cleaning purposes and for other purposes. And we have solar panels initiated in our hospital, which create around 3 megawatts of solar energy, and we are working upon more solar panels. Also, we have a plastic free policy at our campus, and what we do is a plastic reuse program. We
Dr.
have a
Ruchika, I think we'll come to that still further later on when we discuss about plastics.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And one more thing that we found interesting is that there is this do-it-yourself kind of thing where the water that you use for washing can be
Yes.
recycled and used into flushes.
Yes.
So this is something which is very interesting and which can be done rather than having separate inlets and outlets for every water consumption. We can reduce water consumption by having something recycling of water from the wash taps to the flushes.
Another point, Dr. Bindu, I'd like to make, large-scale changes, infrastructural changes, retrofittings may not be possible for everybody, but small changes can make a difference. You just have to sensitize your staff and your seniors, for that matter, your juniors also. Like, to reduce the water consumption, I always advocate that IVF is a very neat and clean procedure, and you don't really need to, wash your scrubs every day.
Yeah.
So even a small wastage is a resource produced, I feel. So we try to educate our clinicians and everybody, once we were part of Green IVF, they would not listen to us. So what we did was because, once they throw that scrubs, nobody comes to know. So we labeled their scrubs by their names, and then we started seeing that, they would hang them on the hangers, and the next day they'll come and wear it. Obviously, if it doesn't have to be blood stained, and it has to be in a septic condition. So these small things also have made a difference in our scenario. So
Absolutely.
this is a very small change. Cloth mask, all those small things, they do add up. You have to sensitize your staff.
Yeah, Dr. Lovely.
Another thing is like many a thing for which you might be actually calling the patient to the hospital. Teleconsultations can take care of little things like
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
And reusable pens are so much more environmental friendly. As you can see, so many syringes would go into giving those 12 injections, which can be done with a pen. And the antagonist, the pituitary downregulation that we do can easily be, the injections can be replaced by tablets, progesterone, or oral antagonists. So these are some of the things that can be, and we must encourage the patients to do the injections themselves and not come to the center for every injection. So it takes a little bit of coaxing for a lot of patients, but it is doable.
And also reducing the number of visits to the clinic.
Absolutely.
Yes, like in ovulation induction scans and all. The tradition is like we call them alternate days, but we can schedule them and we can just do 1 or 2 scans in the ovulation induction cycle.
True.
So that is one thing I feel, that system should change, and avoiding unnecessary investigations and repeating the investigations too often, it cannot.
And if you can identify good labs at little distance places, then maybe they can do the testing there and report to you on phone as well.
And also
then
applying
recently I
these all
heard-
technique to the people who need it, but not routinely for everyone.
Absolutely.
From the clinician side, I think that also is a very crucial thing.
Yes.
And single embryo transfers will reduce
We'll come to that. Yeah.
the after effects of
So, Dr. Bindu, I would like to add that, small changes like which help us in maximum plastic consumption is in the labs. So I will just like
We're coming to that, yes.
Yeah. So if you refer to the newsletter, we have advised certain changes in embryology practices which cut down on the plastics and make even cryopreservation more energy efficient.
Yeah, we are coming to the cryo and embryology labs later. This is now pertaining to the clinical aspects. So yes, I just recently heard something about home IVF as well. So I haven't really understood what that means, but then it is meant to reduce the patient visits to the hospital, reduce the number of investigations, and to teach the patient to take injections. So all that is now coming under the roof of home IVF. I don't know how it will materialize, but then that is the concept that is coming up. Dr. Loveleen?
Yeah, so plastic waste has to be reduced at all costs. So simple changes like removing or not using plastic folders. Instead, we use the cardboard or folders for our patient record keeping. Not using these plastic bottles of water, mineral water, and we can easily have glass tumblers or a cooler with paper cups. So these are little changes that can be very easily made, and they matter a lot.
So next question, please.
As we are talking
Thank you
about
for
reducing
having me.
waste, sorry,
Dr. Anju, yes.
as we are talking, it
And
is
Dr.
very
Sorry.
painful that we talk about reducing plastic waste, but we give these bottles in our conferences and CMEs.
So we
I
need to
would,
work
as
on
a
Not doing
doctor,
that any longer, actually. We
Loveleen,
what
I
we
remember
are
you
doing.
that is
you
the
had
first
shared,
important step. Yeah.
Dr. Loveleen had shared sometime back when we had done one of our webinars that they had done it in their CMEs. So I
Yeah,
think that
in our
should be
CMEs, we
pan-India
do
level
not have
now.
these now.
Yeah, it should be like everywhere. I think
Dr.
as a
Anju,
Probably
doctor.
at the conference level, it may take a while to come to terms with all these things, but the smaller CMEs that we do in our own cities, probably we can still do away with all these plastic bottles and serve in glass bottles and have glasses, proper glasses.
Yeah.
So yes, Dr. Anju.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This topic is really very, very close to my heart, and I must congratulate the team, Loveleen and Dr. Talwar, for initiating this process. And we have been following. My center is also following few things, though people don't agree to it, but we are trying to do it. So I would just like to know how you people can help to reduce the environmental load by modifying the IVF protocol. Do you have something else? Like we do, initiate using multi-dose vials, instead of single this thing. Or what else can we do? We are using, multi-dose vials so that we don't have many injections. But what else can be done, to
Thank you,
reduce
Dr.
the-
Anju, first of all, for joining us today. There was a bereavement in the family very recently,
Yeah,
and I understand you must be really this matter must be
yeah,
close to your heart that
yeah,
you still came and joined us. Thank you.
yeah,
So, Dr. Bharti was already talking about cost IVF, minimal stimulation protocols. Then we have, like we said, oral medications and low dose injections, and then natural cycle IVF. Actually, this should be natural cycle FETs. When you do your frozen embryo
yeah.
transfers in a natural cycle, you use much lesser number of medicines so
Uh,
then reduction in the dose, cost, medical waste, carbon footprint. Once you do low cost IVF, everything reduces. Then doctors tend to be, somehow they tend to prefer to work independently. But if we can actually club the facilities,
yes,
laboratories, andrology, if we could just club those facilities and share amongst each other, that would
yeah,
also be very nice. Then
yeah,
I was surprised to know that there are certain clinics where higher end clinics where they even use disposable Cusco speculums to examine the
yeah,
patient. I mean, I was
yeah,
actually shocked. So these are simple things which can be reused along with our, as Dr. Sarpreet mentioned, the gowns, the patient
yes,
drape.
yes, yes.
All these can be
True.
easily washed and
Masks,
reused.
Yes, the
Uh,
reusable things should be used as far as there's like Dr. Sarabjit has just said, the scrub can easily be used. The
really.
same person can
Again,
use it.
pointing out one very practical thing, ma'am. Lovely ma'am had shown it to us when we started our program. The probe
It's on the
cover
next
was the
slide, I think,
pickup,
Dr. Bindu.
the pickup
Yes,
probe.
we are
It
using
uses a
the
cloth.
we are using the cloth cover for the ultrasound probe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The
Uh,
autoclaved,
Yeah,
autoclaved one.
autoclave.
Autoclave, yes.
A drape.
Can we have the
And
next slide,
drapes.
Dr.
Yeah,
Bindu?
yeah, this is the
So
one. See.
Yeah.
this is the one. So all drapes, everything is reusable, including the probe cover. So even shoe covers, mostly we use just the chappals which can be used. They can be easily be
Cleaned.
replaced with
At least the disposable thing should be out of the IVF theater,
as much
if
as
possible
possible.
from the IVF lab. Yes.
Next,
Try
please.
to use as much as possible cloth for everything, be it scrubs, cap, mask, everything. Better to use cloth rather than the disposable matter. Okay, so we come to the next question.
Good evening, everyone. It is a very great initiative, this Green ERT, and thank you for having me here. I would like to know, are there any green methods to tackle biomedical waste?
Well, yes, Dr. Meenu, would you like to speak on this?
Absolutely. So, obviously, we've all been speaking of the fact that, green IVF is to bring down your plastic waste to make it sustainable at multiple levels. Now, obviously, waste generation is a big thing in IVF. We are using a lot of plastic, which is one-time use. Okay, and obviously being from the medical fraternity, we all know how biomedical waste management is typically done in our country. We have it that color-coded segregation as per the rules which were, formed in 2016, but still being relevant and used in the country. So first, of course, you have to make sure that whatever is your consumption should be minimal in terms of your, even if we say clinically, as we spoke, try and generate minimum waste, minimum paper waste, minimum, firstly, you should not be using those paper cups in any way. That the clinical aspect also, when you're working in your clinics, generate minimal waste. Now, when you're in the lab, try and, use the pipettes or the glass dishes or
We'll come
whatever.
to that, Dr. Meenu. Yeah, this is the biomedical waste clinical part. We'll come to the embryology part as well.
I understand
Yeah.
that. So
Thank you, Dr.
what basically has to be the fact that all of this has to be minimal usage. And thereafter, if you are kind of going to have a system wherein you are going to have a central sorting system, make sure that, you use a minimum bins or plastic wastage storage around you. Try and minimize that because that is also generating a waste. And then the principle, initially we used to say that, okay, reuse was not really the agenda. but now one also should think of reusing things wherever is possible, without, of course, impacting the sterility and the effectiveness of our processes. And so wherever is possible, you try and make sure that the thing is reused. It's a circular economy. So that is also going to contribute to things being sustainable. Then wherever is possible, you try and minimize on the packaging waste. Let it be, wherever you're trying to procure something from your from the vendors, you try and tell them that give us something which can be recycled. So all of these things eventually will help us in, minimizing our biomedical waste and with something which is more sustainable.
So the key is that you try to reduce or minimize the waste, sort out the waste. You have color-coded bags available now. And most importantly, when we say color-coded bags, they are again plastic, but that is recyclable plastic. But then the containers the dustbins in which you put those bags, they should be made of steel. So don't try not to use those plastic dustbins, use steel ones, and then you can just lay your color-coded plastics in your steel containers. So that is another way of minimizing your overall contribution towards plastic waste. And also the electronic waste. Try to minimize on your electronic gadgets as well, because that again is going to add a lot to the overall waste that is generated. So this is in general about the sorting and reducing and reusing of the materials. And now, after a bit of clinical discussion, let us move on to the embryology aspect of Green ART. And I would like to invite Dr. Nidhi to ask the next question.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to be in this panel and to learn about Green IVF. Such a topic is a need of the hour with the increasing pollution. And coming to being an embryologist, and as Preet sir was telling us, I want more details from our experts. What are the sustainable alternatives that can be employed in the embryology laboratory specifically to reduce the overall carbon load, as we have been discussing just now? Regarding the carbon load. So what are the alternatives?
Yeah, so Dr. Sarapreet, would you like to enlighten the speakers on this, the delegates here? If you are here, please.
Dr. Sarapreet had a meeting at 8:30.
Okay. So to begin with, the lab equipments, they have to run continuously. So they are the most energy intensive equipments that has been said by all the speakers ahead. So what we can do is we have to have a proper annual maintenance contract so that the machines run in a proper manner. They don't use or consume a lot of energy. Replace old and worn out electric appliances. Regular maintenance of the HVAC system, gas cylinders, then reduce the number of centrifugation steps also, because we don't realize that when we do our sperm preparation also, when we run the centrifuge at high speed, a lot of not just heat is generated, but it consumes a lot of energy. So how can we minimize on the centrifugation step? How can we minimize on the timing of centrifugation? And it may be a little step now, but then it contributes a long way towards the conservation of energy as well. Minimize the use of single-use plastic, use glassware wherever permissible. So when we began our practice, we used to use these glass pasture pipettes. They can be easily sterilized over the flame. So maybe we can again start using the glass pasture pipettes and even glass Petri plates. It may be difficult to handle in the beginning, but then since we are very careful in whatever we use in the laboratories, because when we move the dishes from one place to another, just as we handle the plastic dishes, even the glass dishes should be handled with care. But then again, glass dishes would be more environmental friendly compared to the plastic ones. So in a nutshell, we have to have proper annual maintenance contract. The HVAC system, suppose you don't have an AHU and you are using ACs, try to monitor the temperature throughout, because we need a specific temperature in the laboratory. So whenever you have reached that temperature, you can switch off the AC so that now the temperature is maintained. When the temperature goes down again, you can again switch on the AC. So first and foremost, it is the AHU that you need in the embryology lab. But if you have ACs, then just monitor the temperature, humidity of the lab, and you can switch on and off. You can have sensors that whenever the temperature reaches a particular level, then the ACs will be shut off. And again, when it goes down, high, again the ACs can be switched on. So that, and also the gas, see that there are no leakages, see what is your consumption. Say for you have a big jumbo gas cylinder, maybe it runs for 4 months, 3 months, or 5 months, whatever, according to your practice, number of IVF cycles that you perform. So see that your gas cylinders are also properly calibrated, there are no leakages, and they are at the proper levels that they have to be for the running of the embryology laboratory, for the incubators, and so on. Also, regarding the lab disposables and media, if anyone wants to add, Dr. Ruchika, Dr. Lakshmi, or Meenu, if you want to add, you can add to it. So lab
Yes.
disposables and media, yes, please.
A simple step of quantifying how much disposables we are generating, that goes a long way in our attempt to reduce that waste. So we can minimize the number of, if possible, without affecting the results, the number of tubes that we are using in our pickups. That will also, a small step in every field, in every way, helps in finally minimizing our green waste and our carbon footprint. And
I think
batching,
we do
if
have,
possible.
we had made this one of the charters of the 20 points we created.
Yes,
before.
yes.
This
So
was
that
one.
is how we started with it. And yes, wherever possible, we can club the procedures together so that there is minimum wastage of LN2 also. So that will help us.
So this is extremely necessary that you have a judicious use. See, we cannot reduce on whatever we are using, in the sense that whatever is required for an IVF cycle is required. But then you try to quantify per cycle what is your requirement, and per month what is your requirement accordingly, and then place bulk orders so that there is no deficit, there is no
I have a
over
question.
ordering
Like,
also.
yeah, I have a question. So, ma'am, if like you're a good lab, do you also have SOPs to, because
Yes.
remember at a point of time in Birla, while sir was only leading it, so he was trying to tell our embryologists that for this particular thing, you use only these many, things. That is the optimal thing that you should be using. If need be, you can use more. So, I think, I mean, is it something like this followed in all labs?
Yes, so we should have SOPs in place. Just the minimal number of disposables also required, and the media also, and order accordingly. Unnecessarily, you place a bulk order which exceeds your demand, and then there is expiry, and you just throw away the bottles because you cannot obviously use the expired media or disposables. So please make a lab SOP on what is your requirement. Maybe depending on whether you do batch or per cycle. So for a week or for a month or for 15 days, depending on your number of cycles, just order accordingly. And also club the procedures wherever possible. For example, you're doing vitrification or warming. So your embryo transfer procedures can be clubbed together. So rather than doing arbitrarily, maybe one FET one day, 4 days later another, just try to club all your FET cycles together so that there is minimal loss of liquid nitrogen as well for vitrification and warming purposes. And also try to promote fresh embryo transfer rather than going in for, so if we are talking about natural cycle IVF or minimal stimulation, maybe we can revert back to fresh embryo transfer rather than going in for freeze-all policy. And also try to digitalize all data that you have. Now we have excellent softwares available where you don't need to have paper and pen in your laboratories any longer. You can have all the data saved in the softwares, right from taking photographs of your embryos to about patient details to everything. So go in for digital documentation of data. And of course, for the daily cleaning of the laboratory, try to use good biodegradable cleaning agents and tissue rolls. Dr. Loveleen has already spoken about how you can use a lint-free cloth also to do the cleaning in the laboratories. So that is in a nutshell what can be done in a embryology laboratory. So now moving on to the next one.
Buildings and architecture.
Dr. Deepali. Yeah.
Deepali.
Dr. Deepali, are you there? Dr. Deepali Shukla? Okay, I think she's not there, Dr. Loveleen.
And we have actually already talked about it, so maybe we can
Yes.
just skip this question, right?
Yes. So what are the green changes that you can make in the buildings? So just quickly, Dr. Loveleen, if you could.
So they were talking about, our architects who were here having white tiles or even white paint on the roof, reducing the windows towards the north and towards the south and west, and have your windows towards the north and the eastern side. And then, of course, using recyclable material, recycled steel, recycled bamboo, recycled concrete, which was new to me. Actually, all this is also available. Low VOC paints and adhesives, yes, definitely. Especially in IVF centers, it is extremely important to have low VOC paints and adhesives. And as such, it's bad for our patients, for the gametes and embryos, and it is also bad for the environment. And so I mean, these low VOC paints are using natural ingredients such as bamboo charcoal and tea tree oil. So this is a very good option that can be used.
Okay,
yeah. And having energy efficient HVACs in the lab. Energy efficient.
Energy efficient, yes. And then you should have proper
Proper
AMC and
maintenance being
maintenance
done,
for
yeah.
these
Yeah.
also.
And
HVAC
also
is actually a
natural
huge
lighting.
conserve
Natural
natural
lighting in
light.
the building.
Yeah, Dr. Deepali, we missed you. I think you are there.
I was there,
Yeah.
but it was not on.
Yeah. So would
But
you like
we
to
have
ask any question? Yeah, further in this?
we have already constructed centers. So how can we incorporate some changes so that we can have that concept of we fulfill the concept of green IVF? Already constructed lab we are running. So can we expect some?
I think from what the architects told us, the takeaways I sum up, maybe you could use some white tiles on your roof or maybe some white reflective paint, number one, and some extension to your windows, like that's, some kind of a awning or something, so that less light comes into your buildings. Bring in plants. What else? So, Loveleen ma'am, what else did they tell us?
Yeah, they were
Solar
talking about
energy.
planting trees and or whatever, especially in front
Maybe
of the
if you have the
windows.
budget, try and you have a roof to yourself, maybe solar paneling there, something like
Solar
that.
paneling,
This will
rainwater harvesting.
rainwater harvesting. All these can be retrofitted in old buildings and old setups.
And of course, in a already constructed building also, if you can use these low VOC or non-toxic paints as well. Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah, I mean, from time to time you have to keep painting again. So at least we should be careful with this.
So, and of course, the air purifier system you can have in place also. So all that. Can we move on to the next, please? Dr. Rajalakshmi? No, oh yes. Then integrate eco-friendly practices like
yes.
This is for someone who is now going to construct a new building. So minimal land use without disturbing local flora, fauna. Have vertical design. So use less space. Have
more number of stories.
More number of floors and compact floor plans. And of course, I think our architects have already spoken about the green building certification systems. These are a few organizations that offer the certification system for buildings. So this can be planned. We'll talk about this further when we talk about the green ART certification system. Okay, so Dr. Rajalakshmi?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. It's a very great opportunity for me to learn from all you experts regarding this Green ART initiative. So, with regard to liquid nitrogen, it is like a main vital part of IVF. Without that, we can't proceed anything. It's just like that, and we can also promote a fresh FET for all the couples. So, what steps can be taken regarding liquid nitrogen usage and cryopreservation facility? And of course, it's been quoted like we can batch together the vitrification procedures and the thawing procedures in a particular day. What other steps, extra measures we can take?
Okay, so as you said, two basic things that can be done is fresh transfer and clubbing of FET cycles. But apart from that, one very important, very simple thing that you can do is try to put your liquid nitrogen storage just outside your embryology laboratory, not far away. Why we are saying this is when we did the assessment of a few centers, we found that their storage tanks for LN2 were too far away and they needed to be carried. So you cannot obviously carry the whole tanks, and then they were first put into small containers and then carried. That causes a lot of evaporation. So the one very basic thing is that try to put your storage tanks just outside your embryology laboratory so that transportation does not cause the evaporation. Then secondly is that just as within your laboratory, similarly try to take your LN2 from vendors that are closer to your facilities. So try to take local vendors closer to your centers so that again that transportation, so class 2 emissions also, and your overall evaporation of liquid nitrogen is less. Then now we just recently this kits have been launched where, see, earlier we had vitrification kits where the vitrification of oocyte, that media also was present, and for embryos also. So that same kit contained for oocyte as well as embryos, and more often than not, the oocyte one, that B0 media, used to be wasted. So now you have separate kits for oocyte as well as embryo vitrification. So that does away with wastage of media which is not necessary for that particular thing. So oocyte and embryo vitrification media, if you have separate, then it will involve a lot of savings, not only in terms of money, but also the media that otherwise goes to waste. Then try to use smart cryo baths made of grade 304 stainless steel with adequate volume capacity. So rather than having thermocol or polystyrene box, which have risk in handling also, try to use stainless steel storage containers so that there is minimal evaporation, there is minimal spillage, and you avoid over usage and wastage. So
and also I believe, ma'am, that stainless steel has got a longer warranty versus the aluminum.
Yes, for example, these. So try to avoid polystyrene ones. Use the, when we say steel, it is the inner coating that is a stainless steel. Of course, because you cannot have a steel container, you won't be able to handle it with liquid nitrogen. So the inner layering is stainless steel. So try to use these kind of and smaller containers so that you don't use a lot of liquid nitrogen. So that these are some very simple things. Of course, if you need to do freezing, thawing, you will have to do. You can't unnecessarily club procedures or avoid freeze-all policies, but then try to minimize by wasting the liquid nitrogen. Yeah. Okay, so I think we move on to the next one.
Even inventory management does a lot of
Yes.
The first in, first out FIFO concept is something that we spoke of in our programs.
Yes. Okay, so Dr. Chaitra? Is Dr. Chaitra there? Dr. Chaitra? Anyone can ask this question.
Yeah, so this is, can using local products make a difference in reducing carbon footprint?
Yes, Dr. Loveleen?
Ma'am, she had an emergency, so she's not there at present. She sent
Oh,
apology.
okay. So sorry. So, okay. Local products, yes, of course. First of all, when we say local products, we are talking of our ART field, which is very strict. We need to maintain proper norms of strict quality control. So whatever we are talking about, when we say local products, we have to ensure that there are strict quality control measures in place. You promote local R&D activities, use locally manufactured products. Now we have quite a few. I don't want to name the companies, but then now we have good quality ovum aspiration needles, ET catheters, even lab disposables, culture media, cleaning products, and organic recyclable tissue rolls, all made in India. So first and foremost, we need to change our mindset that anything that is Indian is not of a good quality. Anything that comes from has an imported seal is very good. It need not necessarily extrapolate to good quality and good quality control measures. So try to first find out if all the quality control measures, they have been certified for IVF use or not, and then we can very much use the local products. And we have been using ovum aspiration needles and ET catheters, and with no change in results. So I think they are at par with the imported or international products that we have been using till now. So yes, promoting natural local products is also one of the ways where, because you such a lot of logistic difference it is going to make, that transportation and everything, so all that adds to the carbon footprint. So we are trying to minimize the carbon footprint, not only by using local products, locally made, even within our city. So it could be national or at the city level, local level, which the products can be utilized for IVF as well, without compromising on the results that we intend to have in IVF. I think that answer, and of course, that goes without saying that therefore try to patronize companies and vendors with smaller carbon footprint, and that involves using the local vendors rather than.
So maybe that is a step ahead, but we can ask them for their ESG reports or look into all those angles.
Yes. Yeah, so you can specify still further, Dr. Meenu, on what are the ESG reports.
So basically, when we kind of are reaching out to a vendor, we must look into what they are handling. How is their reporting of the standards? How is their what are their plans for reducing the greenhouse emissions? Look into their SOPs for waste management that is being generated. And are they using renewable energy sources for production? And are they, of course, how is their water recycling being done? So all of these initiatives and the recycling initiatives. So you have to look at all of those, and there are a lot of companies which are actually supposed to put in their ESG reports, but a lot of them also do a bit of greenwashing. So this is what we have to kind of differentiate, whether it is true green ESG reporting or is greenwashing being done.
Yeah, that's a very important point, Dr. Meenu, that you have said, that when we talk of green IVF, we shouldn't get too carried away. We should avoid greenwashing. So we have to keep a vigil on what really is green and what is projected as green. So that is very important. And just as we are talking about green ART centers, there are also the pharma companies that have green certifications also. So maybe we can ask for that. So compliable, how green compliable they are, accordingly we purchase from them. So that is also one step towards reducing the carbon footprint and having green initiatives within our ART clinic. Okay, so Dr. Anju?
I think Dr.
Anju has left.
I think
so. When we talk of all these things, we just talked about what is green washing. So how do we foresee the IVF lab of the future? Is net zero really possible? So is it possible to incorporate all the changes together, and how do we go about it? So net zero practically is, as of now, it is a slow and steady process. It is a work in progress. We need to start taking baby steps towards achieving the goal. Maybe in another 20 years, we don't know, but then it all depends on what kind of steps we are taking now. So it all starts with whatever buildings or ART centers that we have in existence, what changes can be made there. And when the new ART centers come up, the new buildings, how are they going to comply with the green norms? And then what are its repercussions? So when we are proposing certain green initiatives, whether they are really sustainable and whether they are really worthy of it in the long run. So not just practically possible, but in the long run also, are they going to give us more results, or are they going to cause a burden? That only time will tell. Right now, whatever we feel are the green initiatives, we are trying to take them step by step. So for the new centers that are coming up, if we are talking of future, then we talk of back to basics, right from construction material. So mud and fly ash bricks, as eco-friendly alternatives to cement. Cement causes a lot. It is one of the hottest
leading causes of
yes,
environmental
lot of
pollution.
environmental pollution and lot of CO2 emissions. So that is one thing. If we can take care, it will take care of a lot of carbon footprints that we are leaving behind. So it is cement industry is like a furnace. So that if it is taken care of, it will take care of a lot of problems. We have already talked about low VOC, non-toxic water-based paints containing bamboo and charcoal. And of course, now we can incorporate advanced methods like fully transparent organic photovoltaic windows that will harness natural sunlight, wastewater treatment strategy using vermifiltration. So now we are talking about some fishes or other aquatic organisms which can help in wastewater treatment. So this is again one of upcoming strategies. It is still in the research stage, but maybe we can bring it to our lab use also later on. Then biofuels derived from organic waste, algal biomass, biofuel powered generators, and hydrogen based energy systems. So these are some, like when we talk of uninterrupted power supply in our centers, even we are talking of solar panels and everything, but at the same time, when we'll need generators for the uninterrupted power supply. So can we have biofuel powered generators and hydrogen based energy systems within our ART setup? And these are the steps which can bring about a huge change. So what we have been talking up till now are the little changes at the laboratory and the clinic level that we can bring about. These changes are something that can take us ahead by leaps and bounds if incorporated in the new buildings that come up, the new ART centers that come up. Okay, so what we are trying therefore to say is that not being able to do everything is no excuse for not doing everything you can. So at the present moment, whatever best we feel is possible, we are trying to do that. And we hope for the best that we are contributing towards reducing the carbon footprint. So in right earnest, right from educating our staff and colleagues to bringing about big changes in our building, we need to incorporate all those changes. So I hope we should be able to achieve not complete net zero, but reducing drastically to a huge level. So now moving on to the next, Dr. Shilpi. Is Dr. Shilpi there?
Yeah.
Dr. Shilpi? Yeah.
Yeah. That was a really wonderful discussion, and you're covering every part of it, and it's really eye opener. And I must say at the end, like, how can we future proof the IVF industry? What should be the in general conclusion so that the future is safe and make it more proof and better environmental friendly?
Yeah, Dr. Meenu, you can take up this.
Yeah, so as we have been, trying to do for this past 1 year, and hopefully, with Dr. Bindu Chimote ma'am, she's very enthusiastic, very passionate about the Green Project. Of course, Dr. Colonel Pankaj Talwar led us all, and then Dr. Loveleen, and so we three and the entire team for that matter, we have been, talking about this for a long time, and we would like you also to know that though we have started it, we would like all of you to join us. We have to be like the green warriors. We have to spread this message. Maybe you will just take about 2% from the conversation here today, but at least it's something that you have heard of. So, and I think we have to be, it has to be like a wave. It has to just kind of propagate. And what is important is that we have to understand as to what is the carbon print or the carbon footprint of any organization, any center. We have to be mindful of the energy wastage, the water wastage. There should be a system in place wherein you are doing a self audit. Try and assess yourself prior to starting something, all of these green measures, and then audit yourself after that. And there should be KPIs or some SOPs which we have created. And I think all of you, earnest request to everybody would be who've joined us in this program to go through our green paper. I think that Bindu ma'am and Loveleen ma'am have worked very hard with the KPIs, especially Dr. Bindu ma'am has done a wonderful job of the KPIs. Okay, so those are very concrete parameters to tell us as to, how you can measure against those. And of course, green certification will be the long-term thing which we help 5 of our centers do, but I think we had very little time then. But going forward, ma'am, if we take the program forward and it's continued with IFS, I think also should become more robust, like kind of observing pre and post on a longer term and then giving a certification, because we did it for the first time. We had a shorter time of just 3 months. So I think we have a long way to go if we are all very, earnest about it, and it really is going to impact not, I mean, our future generations. हमें भी कर रहा है, already इतना कुछ हो रहा है इस दुनिया में, और ऐसे कुछ नहीं करेंगे तो पता नहीं क्या होगा, रहेंगे ही नहीं.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
very right,
very
actually.
well said, Meenu and Dr. Meenu. And the main thing is, see, we are just about beginning to have a ART laws and everything. So now within the laws, we need to incorporate the green laws as well.
Yes,
So
yes.
just as we have internal audit, external audit for our IVF centers, that has to incorporate the green changes also. So accreditation. So on the lines of ART law, we have to have within that the green laws also. So pre and post assessment, self-assessment, audit, internal, external, and we need to have accreditation bodies will actually come and check whether the green changes are being incorporated for real, or are they just hobnob, I mean, greenwashing. So all this is necessary. And then once that is, all those conditions are met, then maybe green ART certification can be provided, just as we did for the 5 centers. So we'll just briefly discuss that as well quickly. So we move on to the next one. I mean, of course, green certification, as has already been said by our guest speakers also, that there are various bodies which provide the green certification, the ISO 14001, etc., and so on and so forth. Okay, so Dr. Lakshmi?
Yeah, is it possible to calculate carbon emissions in our IVF lab?
Well, that's a very important question. When we say, when we talk of reducing the carbon footprint, when we say that we need to reduce the carbon footprint, but what is the threshold? What are the limits? What is the measure of carbon emission and calculating carbon footprint? So it's a very lengthy process. It is not simple. For example, there is something called as a core calculation method, where you identify what you quantify the activity. For example, you are using electricity. So what is the kilowatts of electricity that you are using? Then determine what is the emission factor. So what is how much of carbon emission is there for the unit per unit of electricity consumed, and then you multiply your consumption versus the emission. Now it is easier said than done. We have carbon footprint calculator, but then if we have a carbon footprint calculator, first you need to know what is your consumption. So for example, for electricity, it is easy because you have the units of consumption. Now per unit of consumption, what is the carbon emission that is there? For that, it is still a work in progress. All the IVF activities that consume energy, or that is contributing towards generation of carbon footprint. Now, worldwide, there are people who are trying to quantify the carbon emission. For example, this paper is a very milestone and a very important paper. Everyone should go through this, published in RBM Online in 2024. And it talks about sustainability in the IVF laboratory, recommendations of an expert panel. So it is a very humongous, very exhaustive work done by these. Therefore, I have written the names of all the contributors towards this paper. They have worked a lot, and they have tried to calculate the CO2 equivalence by the life cycle assessment methodology, right from the paper that we use for printing in the laboratory to the centrifugation steps that are used in the laboratory for sperm preparation and so on. So CO2 equivalence released per unit of 5 gram of paper, plastic bags. So you can just weigh how much paper, how many bundles of paper you are using, and then try to quantify the carbon dioxide equivalents that are released. So if you go through this paper, even if you just Google and try to find out what is the average carbon dioxide equivalent that is released by all these activities, for example, the incandescent lamp, the tube lights, then the LED lights, the lab disposables per cycle. They have given an average number of disposables per cycle to be used. Then disposable caps, disposable masks, and centrifuges, and so on. The list is endless. I have just taken a few representatives. So this makes our job easier. So depending upon how many cycles we are doing per month, and therefore what is the number of consumables that we are using or disposables we are using, the cap mask that we are using, all that can be quantified, and then you just need a simple calculator to find out per cycle or per month how much carbon equivalents you are producing. So that if you can quantify and then bring about changes and try to find out, is it trying to reduce the carbon emission or the CO2 equivalents that are being released by your IVF center per month. So yes, it is a bit difficult, but maybe if you are trying to have a green team where you have one volunteer there specifically allotted this job of trying to find out, and whatever number of consumables and all that is being used in your IVF setup, all that can be quantified, and you can per month your CO2 equivalent can be calculated. So it may seem tedious at the beginning, but later it becomes easier. So for example, see this particular paper also talks about KPIs for Green ART Center. So just as you have how many CO2 equivalents are released, and then you calculate according to your lab number of cycles, and then try to find out whether you are within the threshold limit or not. So energy and carbon, what should be the consumption per IVF cycle? So for example, threshold limit says less than equal to 30 to 35, and the benchmark is less than 20 to 25. So if you are exceeding, that means somewhere you are going wrong. For a standard, if you go as per SOPs, what should be your energy consumption? And if you are exceeding, then where all you can bring about changes, right from switching off when not required, the lights, bringing about minor changes from tube lights, you shift to LED lights, and even these changes can make a big difference. So this particular paper, I won't go into the details. We are running out of time already. We have exceeded. But then this lists the threshold that is acceptable and the benchmark levels of carbon dioxide equivalents that should be, is expected from our ART laboratory. And if not, then we need to make drastic changes in our practice. Okay, so now Dr. Deepali, are you there, Dr. Deepali Shukla? What is the time? It's already 9.
Late.
Is there anyone attending, or Meenu, Dr. Meenu, is that just you and me?
No,
Ma'am,
I'm
I'm here. We are attending.
Yeah,
We
so
are there, ma'am. We are there.
Dr. Rakhi Goyal can ask.
Ma'am, ma'am, we are all attending. What
We
is
are
the
all here.
IFS Green ART certification initiative?
Yeah, so this is something very interesting, Dr. Meenu. If you would like to start, maybe you can throw some light on this.
So when we had started it, we had, drawn up some 20 criteria that we had, and we had first reached out from across the country. We invited for applications. We said, please come enroll. This is a novel kind of a project wherein we are going to do these sustainable measures in the lab and see what difference we're able to make. And so, but first, more or less, our year was an educative year. We wouldn't say that in terms of real action points, we achieved a lot. But point is, even understanding the concept was what this has done for us. I mean, there's a conversation going on about it. We are understanding what all, how we are contributing to the CO2 emissions. This is itself, I think, has been the biggest thing. But of course, with all, credit, we all want to own the credit that we have done concrete work. ऑफ कोर्स लाइक प्रैक्टिकली उसको हमने जो एक डायरेक्शन दिया है वो भी तो हमने अपनी एफर्ट से, सबके एफर्ट से दिया है. तो कहने का मतलब अगर यही चीज हम पूरी कंट्री में इसको स्प्रेड करेंगे तो सबको कुछ ना कुछ इसका फायदा होगा. सो वी हैड दीज 5 centers. These 5 centers, incorporated those changes. There were 2, assessments we did. 3 months apart, ma'am. We did 3 months apart. So it was an online, inspection that we carried out, and we looked into all of those pointers as to what it was pre following the green measures and post following the green measures. And as I said, if they did not make a substantial difference, there were some key points that they were able to work on. And it was a very good experience for these 5 centers also, and for all of us as a huge team.
So yes, we tried to assess these 5 teams on 36 different points in 7 different aspects, right from construction and design to the clinical management and reduction of cost burden. And as Dr. Meenu has already said, pre and post assessment compliance. So since it was a pilot project and we wanted to present the report at the Fertivision 2025 December, so the 5 centers were assessed via virtual tour into their IVF setup. So in August and November. So a pre-assessment was done in August, followed by suggestion of the green norms, which they tried to comply with. And then again, a post-assessment was done in November. And the changes incorporated during these 3 months was documented. And I'll just quickly run through the slides just to show you that for every center, Dr. Sarapri, Dr. Rakhi Goel is here, then Dr. Lakshmi was there, and then we had Dr. Meenu
Ruchika
also,
was there,
and
Dr.
Dr.
Lakshmi,
Ruchika
Komala,
Lakshmi. So all these centers we assessed, and all these are the parameters on which they were assessed, and all of them quantified. We gave them the standard values, and then depending on their own usage, they tried to quantify and gave us the results. And it is very heartening to see that all 5 centers were able to reduce their carbon emission or equivalents, CO2 equivalents that were released even for the short duration of 3 months. And this is the final report that we found that, of course, it is not a very significant change, but then we are talking of just 3 months. And this was a pilot study, not just for the 5 centers, for us also. It was a trial and error method, because we suggested something and then we realized that it was not practically possible for all the 5 clinics. So only the parameters that were possible for all of them we took into consideration. So yes, there were a few flaws, a trial and error method, but yes, definitely there was a change, even with those doing away with disposable caps and masks and everything. It brought about a huge change, reducing paper, doing telemarketing, and clubbing the cycles. These changes also brought about a significant change overall in the carbon dioxide emissions. So yes, to that effect, we were successful. But then, as Dr. Meenu said, it's still a long way to go for us and how we go
Yes,
about.
ma'am. I would also like to add, yes, because this created the awareness in among us to bring the change. Because before that, we were not aware how much waste we were generating in our labs, and
Yes.
that brought us to the attention that what were the areas where things could be changed, even at minor levels, even at small steps, like educating the patients to bring their own water bottles so that they do not have to use paper glasses, to use reusable caps. Small measures
Not
have
give them
made,
printed reports.
not with the printed
Even the
reports where
smart switches,
possible.
the smart switches, then the plastic, rather than the plastic dustbins, to have to switch over to the steel.
And
Seamless one.
creating the green awareness team so that even the whole of the staff got aware that they have to switch off the lights that were not used, and they were also educating the patients.
I was speaking with Dr. Parul, who actually is with Dr. Sarapreet in Artemis. So she once said that when your green program was going on, sir would keep switching off all lights. I said it's a good effect. No, the ART program had a good effect.
Yes, that had a good effect. It always kept us on toes. No, switch off that light. The area is not being used.
Yeah, and I think Dr. Ruchika, it was your center that had your liquid nitrogen cans quite
Very
far,
far
and then
away,
you
yes.
shifted it here
Yes,
in the
ma'am.
technology laboratory. So
Yes.
these are the little things that we tend to oversee, overlook without realizing how we are adding to the carbon footprint, and these little changes can also bring about a big change. So I think we are almost to the last question. So Dr. Nidhi?
Yeah,
If
ma'am, as you have talked about certification, and I say even if it's a small beginning, the 5 centers have paved a way for all the other centers in the country, I would say, all along to look forward to something like Green IVF. And then, but the question is at IFS as a society, what activities and awareness programs are they, except like today's program was so good. So, what other programs are there which they have been conducting for the same?
Yes, definitely. We have carried out a series of programs. Dr. Meenu will tell you about it. But of course, our biggest achievement was this green certification of the 5 centers. But right from the beginning, we have had quite a few programs. Dr. Meenu, can you please tell us how we just went about it?
Long story short, we have a pan-India team. We had some CMEs, webinars. We had 11 bulletins released monthly basis. Some, outreach programs. Sir spoke of in the beginning, so it was just a sum up of what we've done. And the major thumping point is a white paper, which all of you
Yeah,
should read. I
yes.
mean, try and
And
incorporate.
when you put in Green IVF in AI, they just tell you that IFS has initiated this Green
Wow,
IVF.
that's
Wow.
great.
Yes.
No, so the thing is, Dr. Nidhi, to let you know, to how did we begin? So, as Dr. Pankaj Talwar already told us that he has thought of this concept during last Ahmedabad IFS, and then there were these 9 teams made. So, there were ideas pouring in from all the 9 teams, because 9 teams covered different aspects of the ART center, right? From what is sustainable IVF, how do you design sustainable clinics, just as we asked you all the questions were asked today, the 15 questions. So all these were like, they took into consideration what are the clinical perspectives, what is low cost IVF, what is biomedical waste disposal, then embryology, cryobiology, made in India initiative, and novel ideas that can make us towards go towards net zero. So there were 9 different teams made, and all 9 teams had to research in their given areas and had to come up with a newsletter. So when we came up with a newsletter, that means we had certain points, certain directives or pointers to tell that this is the way that we can move ahead. And whatever was possible out of those 36 points were devised for the 5 centers that were recognized for ART certification. So it was a lot of work. And of course, Dr. Pankaj has already said, Dr. Meenu also mentioned that we had CMEs right from January, March, then online CMEs, we had the national conference at Varanasi, we had the Green ART World Environment Day. Sir spoke of the Green Hour. Then World IVF Day, again, panel discussion, sustainability hour, sorry. And then, of course, achievement is 11 newsletters published. And apart from one great achievement, that is the certification of the 5 centers, we have all these things compiled into a white paper on the Green ART. This is a big achievement. I think everyone needs a clap for this. To come out with a white paper, Dr. Meenu has really worked tirelessly to put
No,
in
ma'am,
all the
all of
matters
us have,
together.
all of us have,
Yes,
but I
yes.
think this is a
But
good
then,
concrete thing we have
yes.
it, that we've
So
created.
this is one document that's a good achievement. We should be proud of the Indian Fertility Society that has come up with this document. It has been published by Evangel Publishing House, and it has all the details that you need further. So whoever is interested, even after this webinar, to bring about changes, you can go through this white paper, and you can also go through the newsletters that we have published. There are 11 newsletters. So all 11 newsletters and the white paper should be enough to give you an idea of what all activities IFS has done to take this initiative forward. So I think with this, it has been a very expansive, very exhaustive panel. We enjoyed doing it. I hope our delegates here
Yeah.
also took home certain things and will try to incorporate green changes within their setups.
A
So
big,
with
big
this,
thank you to you, dear ma'am. You are so
thank you so
passionate
much for
about this
all of you.
topic. I mean,
Oh,
you
it
and
is,
Laveen,
you
ma'am.
you always are behind
Ma'am,
us, ma'am.
I this
Yeah.
time I did not do much. You do know that because of my commitments to the
Okay.
family and otherwise. But otherwise,
Okay.
also you have always been so passionate about the topic,
Thank you.
and even they're very very close to their heart, and that is why you see it when they kind of discuss it. So I
Thank
hope
you
So
all
so
of us
yes,
much.
have that passion, and all of us make some difference at
yeah,
our
we
part.
always say we have to keep a plan B ready, but then remember there is no planet B. You may
Mhm.
have a plan B, but there is no planet B. The planet is crying out for help. It is saying, "Help me to help yourself to secure your own future." We need to work now. Get up and start doing it. So let's bring babies into a clean, green world and make a life a better place for. We are striving. There is infertility. We feel bad for our patients. We try to do good for them, but then also try to make it more conducive, more environmental friendly for the babies that we are trying to bring into this world. Let us not cause any harm and cause more infertility to them after they come into this world. So yes, thank you so much for being patient, listeners, and for being a part of this discussion today. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
Bindu
you.
ma'am. Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Thank you
much
so
for
Dr.
much,
such
Dr.
an
Laveen,
enlightening.
Dr.
Bindu and
Krishnan
Dr.
ma'am,
Menu.
whosoever I'm seeing on the screen.
Yes,
Bye, bye,
yes.
bye.
Thank you
Bye.
so much for
Bye.
such an
Bye.
enlightening webinar. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Dr.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Krishnan.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Right,
Yes.
Bindu ma'am.
Bye.
How many are still there? Let us see.
We are still there.
12. Now
very
15 are
enlightening
still
and
there.
very interesting.
So
Yeah.
not bad. You were thinking we are only two people sitting here. 15
No,
people.
no, it
very,
was a real
Yeah,
eye opener.
with us.
no, very, very interesting and very take lot of take home messages. Really thoroughly enjoyed this panel
Please read our
discussion.
white paper. We have all
Yeah, definitely,
done
ma'am. It's very,
something about
thank
it.
you so much.
Yeah.
Right.
So I hope everyone
Okay,
takes home certain things.
thank you, Dr.
And
Bindu and Dr. Meenu,
yeah,
for
thank you so
having
much
me,
for
and also
everyone.
You've always been very active with us. Thank you.
Yes,
yeah.
Dr. Loveleen is there, I think.
Ma'am, no, she is gone for emergency. She's just.
Oh,
Thank you, Natasha, for the sweet
but
support you've
yes,
given
thank you, Natasha, so
always.
much for really carrying out this entire event today smoothly and effortlessly. And Dr. Lakshmi, Dr. Rakhi, Dr. Krishna Leela ma'am, Dr. Nidhi, Raj Lakshmi, has she left or is she there? Dr. Shilpi, Dr. Geeta, that's good to know there's someone who's also listening, not part of the panel, but is still there. Thank you so much.
Good night, ma'am. Good night.
Good
Night,
night.
Neeta.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye. Bye. Can we have a photograph of all the people who are still there, Dr. Meenu? Maybe Mukul can take one. Yeah.
Ma'am, I've already taken and shared in the group.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
wow,
Oh,
wonderful.
okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so
For
much.
being so proactive.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Good
Okay.
night.
Bye. See you. Good night.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Dr. Meenu.